Hi, Ripley.
Ripley, for Christ's sake. Come here.
Oh, gosh. That's a cute cat.
She is.
You know what else is a cute cat?
What's that?
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Pixlet. My name is Kevin. With me, as always, is Phil. And today is Jonesy. Oh. Ripley. Or Ripley, rather.
Ripley.
Yeah. She's gone.
She's gone. We're gonna get rid of her when I can.
Yeah.
Take that any way you want.
Take that any way you want. No, she's just wandered off to go see her mama.
We do not have the most graceful cats in the world.
No, I've met these cats. They are. I feel like if they fell from a great height, they would land like on their face,
right,
or something.
Right. Not light on their feet. These cats.
Not light on their feet.
No.
Oh boy. We're talking about things that are not light on their feet today. We're talking about the Five Nights at Freddy's, the Twisted Ones, and these animatronics. Oh boy,
these books have not been light on their feet.
These books are not light on their feet. The animatronics are not light on their feet. Actually, there's been 0.0% animatronic in this book so far. So
yeah, except for yeah. Well, we'll get into it.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it. So yeah, we're back with Five Nights at Freddy's. The movie, this will just have been released last weekend as of this episode.
and if you think we're going to miss the opportunity to talk about that one now that we've started doing movie episodes, then you're out of your mind. So
you're out of your GD mind, people, because we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that movie.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about Matt Pat's appearance in that movie.
Matt Pat's in it? Of course, I don't. Yeah, you know what? Never mind. I don't know why I feigned surprise. I didn't know that, but I'm not going to act like it's the greatest. Matt Pat. What does Matt Pat have to do with fucking FNAF? Oh wow! I don't know where that came from. Let's pretend it never happened.
I'm just surprised he's not the main character.
It's true. Or Markiplier or something. Just like
or Markiplier. No, Markiplier's moved on to higher art forms of video game, doing
more
the Iron Lung movie.
Horror.
He's making that Iron Lung movie that we have high hopes for that one.
I hope it's good. I hope
it's good. He had to go to the hospital because of how much fake blood he was dipped in.
It was a lot of fake. Now, is this a feature-length film that he's making, or is this a short film?
Yeah. It's a feature-length.
How are they going to do
I don't know. 80 minutes with credits.
Okay.
It's we'll see how it goes.
I have this terrible nagging suspicion that this is going to be a really great example of pointing at it and going, this is why it's okay if it's just a game that's just an hour long. Yeah. It's okay. We don't need to fuck with it. You know,
we don't need to fuck with it. And it will point at it and be like, this is why it's okay that it could have been a 15-minute movie. It could have been a really slick short film.
Absolutely. Now, if that was why I asked, because I think something got into my head that it might have been a short film, and if that had been the case,
no, I'm pretty sure it's feature length.
See that I would have understood, like a 10-15 minute film that could work very well. But
yeah,
we don't need to get into why it's an ocean of blood and all that shit. It's fine. Just we don't. I know this is going to be an odd thing to bitch about on a show where we just talk about adaptations, but not everything needs to be adapted.
Not everything needs to be adapted.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks. Not everything needs to be, as we've proven in this show.
Yes, I think we've got the resume for that. Up.
There she is.
My girl pops up in the back. Your girl pops up at the back. It's all fair game. Hey, kid.
Hey, Munchkin.
She is gunning for a guest shot on this show.
Yeah, she is angling for that. Bye, Camilla.
Yeah.
So, Five Nights at Freddy's, The Twisted Ones, based on the Five Nights at Freddy's video games. We don't really need to talk about the video games at all. And this one's not even based on one specific game. The books pretty much have left the game, the games behind at this point.
Long ago, yeah. There's it's its own weird mythology at this point.
People talk about canon, and I think canon is a term that gets used way too often, specifically in things like the Five Nights at Freddy's lore, which is just within the same game universe contradicts itself multiple times. The books are its own thing. There's no connection. There's no carryover between except for a few names, and that's about it.
Yeah. I think I remember because I watched a bunch of those Matt Pat videos. The first few of them I remember really loving, and then it just became like,
the first few were written by Alex Fasciani.
What's that?
The first few at Matt Pat videos on Five Nights were written by Alex Fasciani.
Yeah, and they're great, and they're entertaining, and they're interesting, and it starts to go off the deep end like a lot of things too. And I remember one of the later ones he references, I think, the Silver Eyes for proof of something, and I was like, oh no, we don't need to do that.
We don't need to do that. We don't need to say that.
You're not helping your case.
You're not helping your case. That's like a negative works cited there.
Yeah, exactly. You might as well take another item off of your bibliography at this point.
Yeah, it canceled something else out.
Yeah, exactly. You're just digging deeper. Rules. Dig up, stupid.
So it was written by Kira Breed Riesly, who we covered last time. You've actually dug up a little bit more on her. At the time, there wasn't a whole lot known about her, but unfortunately, Kira is suffering from breast cancer. Mm-hmm. She was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer a few months ago. So our thoughts are with her, wishing her a full and speedy recovery.
Yeah.
But
just because we didn't like your first book doesn't mean that. Yeah. That's fair game. That sucks.
That's fair game. No, it sucks. Cancer sucks. And we really wish Kira full and speedy recovery through her cancer battle. But what else can you tell us about Kira?
Well, I was just talking. She kind of has this background that when you look at it initially, it's kind of confusing to see how she got here. She graduated from Cornell. She's a playwright. She has this very ultra artistic kind of background. She has plays that are very based around social justice and education and that sort of thing. And they've been performed in New York City and all over the place. And she's won a bunch of awards for them. And then she started writing the FNAF. And I think this might be like the only thing that actually has her name on it, because she is. If you check out her page on her agent's website, her representation, she does a lot of ghostwriting. It says she does a lot of memoir stuff and a lot of trade paperback fiction, young adult thriller, horror, and chick lit. But everything when you Google her is about her contribution to the Five Nights at Freddy's novels.
Yeah, it kind of overshadows. And I think it's an interesting thing to say, because you mentioned her plays are pretty lefty.
And
if
she's
you look
really
up her,
lefty. If you follow her,
if you look up her Twitter feed, she's very lefty, which is an interesting counterpoint to, say, Scott Cawthon, who is ultra right wing. Donated to some of the worst politicians in his time. The most anti-trans, election result denying, anti-Semitic politicians you can think of. So it's an interesting and an odd pairing. The only thing I'll have to hand to Scott Cawthon is that he donated $10,000 towards her cancer GoFundMe.
Yeah, it was a really decent thing to do.
But on the flip side, the fact that she has to have GoFundMe is in part due to people like Scott Cawthon funding these right-wing conservatives. So it's like give and take. It's an Ouroboros of. So, all that being said, Kira, get better. We want to see you do more things and better things and grander things than the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise.
Yeah. And now we're going to rip your book to shreds.
Well,
now
what's
that
funny
we've got
is
all that respect out of the way.
What can't you believe?
I spent all fucking night dragging the poor bastard in there.
yeah, the book it's actually fine so far.
So far, when I got my copy, I don't know if I have. Hold on, you know what? I'm going to grab it. I'm going to grab the other one real quick.
Go grab the other one.
We first read Silver Eyes,
Yes.
which was a beast, which is like almost 400 pages long. And one of the things we kept talking about was that it had a lot of padding. There's no reason for it to be this dense.
That dent. Yes.
Yeah. So when this came in the mail,
Oh yeah.
I was overjoyed. And it's literally about 100 pages shorter.
That's amazing.
Which is great news because length does not necessarily equal quality.
Yes. Chef's kiss.
Absolutely.
To be
So
fair.
right off the bat, good first impression.
First impression.
Yeah.
You tightened up a little bit.
Yeah.
Chapter 1, we begin with a character named Dr. Treadwell, a professor of robotics or AI or something, talking about how our brain processes information in order to deal with the absurd amount of stimulus we get in a day. And we pan over to Charlie, who is our main character from the first book. She is furiously taking notes despite distractions by her friend Artie. And she's also thinking about John, her would-be boyfriend hero of the first book,
The writer.
is going to be nearby to visit in about an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember us landing on John being kind of like a doof, like not worth all the consternation, right? We
Yes.
didn't like John in the
Yes.
first book. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a bit of a budding Bukowski-esque vibe to him,
Yeah.
which made me unsettled.
He
I
was
remember
young
that.
adult Bukowski.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like, what's his name from Gilmore Girls?
Yes,
Jess Mariano. Yeah,
Yeah,
a little bit of Jess Mariano, but like take a little bit of Italian out of him. Make him a little
this
whiter,
kid's not Italian.
a little less ethnic,
Yeah.
and you got John.
That's pretty. Yeah, I mean that's it. That's pretty much it.
So Charlie has been having dreams ever since she turned 18 about her dead twin Sammy. And we also find out she left her Aunt Jen's house after an argument and moved in with Jessica at college and eventually enrolled at the school that Jessica is going to. They're on their way. They're walking on their way she's walking with Artie, and Artie stops to ask Charlie about Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. Mm-hmm. Charlie snaps at him a little bit and walks away to her dorm room. And we get to the dorm room, and it's decorated like an 80s sitcom.
Oh yes.
Literally, they have taped down the middle. One side is clean, one side is messy. The messy side is Charlie's side. The clean side is Jessica's side.
The Perfect Strangers theme starts playing.
Perfect Strangers,
Yeah.
Cousin Balky,
Yeah.
Cousin Larry,
This might be the second or third time we've referenced Perfect
we've
Strangers.
referenced Perfect Strangers a number of times.
What a random 80s reference.
If we had a
to
nickel
make.
for every time we referenced Perfect Strangers, I'd have like 3 nickels.
Yeah,
which
like
isn't
15
a lot,
cents, man.
Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened that many times.
It isn't a lot, but it's too much at the same time.
But it's too much at the same time.
Yeah.
There's so many other things. Like we haven't referenced Cheers at all.
Exactly. There are so many higher quality shows that really left an even like a real impression on the world, on culture, and we don't touch them. We haven't touched them.
Moonlighting, not
Yeah.
even once.
Yeah. Just then, I could have gone with The Odd Couple, for Christ's sake, for the theme, and I went with Perfect Strangers.
Perfect Strangers for the 3rd time. What are we doing here?
I don't know, man. I'm starting to think this is why we haven't made it to the big leagues yet.
This is why we haven't been invited to Behind the Bastards to listen to Robert Evans tell us about some war crimes.
This is why we haven't been invited to the podcast makeout parties. They won't have us.
So Charlie's working on some robot heads that she's building because she is her father's daughter.
Yep.
Mari Povich does not have to do a DNA test.
Don't bother.
On that. The robots do their best Descartes impressions before Jessica comes in and Charlie shuts that shit down. And Jessica is like, hey, what are you doing there? Let me see. And Charlie is like, here, take a look. And Jessica's like, oh, that's a terrible idea.
That's a nightmare.
That's a nightmare.
That is in the room that we share. Awesome.
Why are you doing this? You know, your father built killer robots.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not really all that comfortable with anything that's going on here. So great.
Then to make things worse, Jessica then notices that Charlie brought her robo-rabbit Theodore from her house and grabs it. Whoops, it's been ripped apart for parts.
Right.
It just falls apart in her hands. And Jessica is not having a good time.
No, she's and you know what? Valid. Totally valid. I understand. I feel like I understand anyway.
I get it. Charlie then goes to meet up with John, and they are just super awkward together. There's nothing in any instance of them together that says that they should be together.
Yeah. No.
They go get a meal to catch up. John apparently decided not to go to college in favor of working construction and using his library card to read books because, hey, why should I, pay money to read books?
All right. That's not what college is, but okay.
That's not what college is, but I guess.
All right.
He mentions that Charlie's house was hit in the recent storm, and Charlie tries to bail. She's like, I gotta go. And John's like, hey, do you want to go out on a real date? Because I'm John. Because I'm John, and you have no other options.
Yeah, and who? It's me or nobody. What do you think?
It's me or nobody. So yeah, they're gonna go out on a date. While she's walking to her next class, she runs into Clay Burke. He is the police captain who was also the father of one of their friends, Carlton. He was involved in the whole thing at the end of the first book, and he's like, Charlie, listen to me. He's like Doc Brown, basically.
I was about to say, what are you doing, Doc Brown or
Rick?
Or Rick, yeah.
You gotta listen to me, Charlie.
You gotta listen to me, Charlie.
Jesus. It's about your kids.
And by the way, good choice having Clay join us and not his kid. His kid, as I recall, was the nerdy smart ass of the group, and what wasn't he also like a psychopath or something like that?
Yeah, he was a prankster who pretended he was a twin.
That's what it was. They went a little far with that backstory.
There was a little bit much in that backstory.
Yeah, I think we could have cut that one off at the knees. Yeah,
that could have been part in the 100 pages that book needed to cut out.
Yeah, big time.
So Clay goes, Charlie, I got to show you a dead body.
He sure does.
He sure does. We got to go to the marsh, Charlie. We got to go to the
marsh. They just keep piling up. They're all named after video game adaptation novels. It's so weird.
It's so weird. We got to go to the marsh. This is not reality TV.
Charlie, it's not.
It's not.
Don't laugh, Charlie.
Don't laugh. Chapter 2.
Notice how it's just clipping along beautifully like that.
It's clipping along beautifully.
It's so good.
It's so good. Clay and Charlie catch up in the car. Carlton is apparently out east studying acting. Charlie mentions that she has dreams about Freddy's after Clay mentions Carlton's issues sleeping. They get to a pasture with cows, and Clay shows Charlie the body, and it was very clearly killed by being placed into a Springtrap suit. On the way back, Charlie asks Clay what happened to Freddy's. Clay mentions it's been partially torn down, but demolition isn't complete, which, okay, I have to stop here. Mm-hmm. It doesn't take that fucking long to demolish like something the size of a restaurant. That's
you can get that done in an afternoon. That's yeah.
Like if they're already knocking the walls down, like it's not like they would just be like, well, there's a storm coming, we're stopping, or it's like the guys got called away because of the storm. I guess I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. Half demolished just doesn't seem like.
I feel like these guys destroy buildings the same way I pack for trips. It's like, okay, I put my underwear in the suitcase. Next month, I'll probably get the socks in there. This will have to do.
I don't know where to start.
I don't know. It's frozen with choices. There's no reason for it to still be there, especially with all the shit that's been surrounding it. So
right.
Especially now the cops are involved. Like,
and
should be.
Yeah,
there.
It shouldn't be there. It just hurry up, guys. Come on. Yeah. So Clay mentions they never found the body of Dave, the security guard, and they gave that place a thorough once over. Mm-hmm. A once over. They only really
didn't miss a thing, and he's not there.
Yeah, he's not there. Clay mentions the possibility that Dave is still alive because the blood they found at the place that he died was fake.
Fake blood.
Fake blood.
Did they even go into like what kind of fake blood they're talking about here? Like, as I recall, it's just like
Caro corn syrup or
no, but like they don't even say that, do they? Like,
no, I don't think so.
It was fake blood. Oh,
fake blood.
I don't know why it just that bothered me that they instead of like it was corn syrup and food coloring or something like that. Like
it's like it is like strawberry sauce.
Right.
Weird.
No, it's it's fake blood. It came from the fake blood flowers of Guatemala.
Yeah.
Just natural resources.
It's a natural resource. Chapter 3.
Look at that. Look at that. Do you hear that? Do you hear how we're just
it's just clipping along.
Baby. I love it. I am thrilled to the bone.
Thrilled to the bone.
It's beautiful.
Charlie goes back to her dorm to change and get out of the blood-stained clothes, and then she goes to the Thai restaurant for her date with John.
Yes.
They are absolutely not a cute couple together.
It is so awkward.
Like, I get it. It's like teens are awkward and all that stuff, but there is nothing redeeming about them together. There's there's no like meet cute. It is just two people who are together because it's circumstance.
Yep.
And I don't even know what they have in common.
Not really.
Other than nearly dying at the hand of haunted ghost robot animatronics.
Which admittedly,
that's a big thing.
That's a big thing.
You know, there's not many people. It's not a
meet cute. It's a meet cringe. It's
a meet cringe.
It's bad. Which is good. Like it's appropriate for their characters. It's just you just hate to watch it. That's all.
You just hate to watch it. John talks about his job, how he meditates now. His ex-girlfriend Rebecca.
Ex-girlfriend.
Yeah,
they make a big deal out of that one.
They do. Yeah. And how like he couldn't really connect to Rebecca because he couldn't tell her about Freddy's or something like that. But he
not
could
before
tell
he gave her his precious, precious gift.
His precious gift.
Yeah. Charlie, I'm afraid that you aren't going to get to stamp this V card. It's not in the book, but I think we can all agree that's what happened.
We can all agree that they banged.
He is used goods now, Charlie. Just
there's Rebecca, and then there's like 3 more people in between.
Yeah.
He's not mentioning.
And that all happened within the space of 36 hours.
That was 36 hours just getting over Rebecca.
That was one crazy Yom Kippur.
Oh, God.
Yep.
So Charlie has a brief freak out moment after noticing blood on her hands and goes to wash it off. And then they go to the movies to watch a movie about zombies versus zombies. Not Plants versus Zombies, but this is zombies versus zombies.
Zombies versus zombies. Yeah.
Yeah. During the movie, Charlie gets in her head thinking about zombies.
Yeah.
There's a paragraph about thinking about how dumb zombies are.
She really does. Like we do get actually some terrific character development here because it is pure geek brain.
She's just watching this movie and she's like, how do they eat? How do they function? If it's part of the neural cortex, blah, blah, blah. Like she's like really diving into like she's really tearing it apart, the concept of the zombie apart in her head.
Boiling over with the plot holes. Like, why aren't they doing this? The idiots. Like,
why aren't they mining the field while they have the time? Landmines. So she has to take a breather because she gets really worked up over.
We've all been there.
We've all been there. And she goes back inside and uses a payphone to call Chief Burke to see if there have been any updates on the case. And he says no.
By the way, the use of a payphone in this book, less unrealistic than the murderous robots.
Well, it is.
Or less realistic, rather.
It is in 1998.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting this is in the 90s.
This is in the 90s. Yeah. So no that's cell phones. Right. She's got to call collect, baby.
That's right. Okay. All right. I'll give this one to you, Kira.
1-800 call collect. What I can't remember the numbers now.
Yeah, there were a bunch of those.
That was a huge thing in the late 90s. There was the collect numbers commercials.
That's so funny. And everyone had their favorite brand of phone card that they would use and all that shit.
Yeah. Because payphones were everywhere. They were your lifeline. Like, how did anybody get in touch with anybody back in the day? Fucking payphones.
Back then, that's the irony, is back then, if you didn't see a payphone in an area, it made you think, oh, this is not a safe place to be. Whereas nowadays, if I see a payphone in an area, I go, what's wrong? Where are we?
Where are we?
What's happened? And I start getting nervous. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to make it out of here alive.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I would like payphones to come back, though.
I would also like that, actually. I think that would be...
I don't know why. I don't have any argument for it.
I'd use them just for the sake of using them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because I could, I'd be like,
yeah.
Hey, I'm talking on a public phone that 1,000 other people have handled.
Yeah. I am getting COVID while talking to you.
Getting COVID right now.
Right now. As we speak. Literally as we speak. I am manifesting sickness. It is great. It's great.
Manifesting it.
Maybe payphones weren't such a great idea.
Maybe they weren't such a great idea. So she goes back into the movie theater. John finally works up the courage to put his arm around her.
Yes.
Still the most awkward couple ever.
So awkward.
Charlie tells John about the dead body that morning. She goes, hey, do you want to see a dead body? And now she wants to go back to Freddy's, but he's all like, no, you shouldn't do it. You should got to put that shit behind you, which points to John. Yes, he's correct. Like,
he is correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Move on. Charlie goes back to her dorm and she tricks Jessica into agreeing to go with her. By saying it's a shopping trip, girls' night, girls' shopping trip, girls' day, yay! And Jessica's like, yay! And Charlie's like, yay!
Yeah, that's.
Charlie spends late that night. Charlie plays with her talking robot faces, and they have developed even more talkiness.
Yes, they're learning, and it's very disquieting.
Clever girl.
Yes.
Chapter 4. Charlie has a nightmare about her creepy fucking robot faces that she's building. Because why? Why are you building them?
Yeah, she did that to herself. She gets no sympathy points.
No sympathy points.
None.
Anyway, John's at the door, and he just opens the door to her dorm room, and she's like, "Wait, what are you doing?" Yeah. And he's like, "Well, it was unlocked," and she's like,
"What?"
So
he said the same thing when he tried to undo her bra.
Yeah, it was unlocked.
It was unlocked. You don't have a trap back there or anything. What do you think's gonna happen?
She puts on some clothes and invites him into the mess of a room, and she's being coy about the project she's working on. And then he notices that Theodore has been disassembled. So she's like, "All right, I'll show him." She shows him the project, and she's working on different ways for them to learn data and gather inputs and all that. And right now, the robot faces can only interact with each other, but not people. But she has like a little earpiece that she can put in that makes them think that she's a robot, something like that. She declines John's breakfast invitation because she's going out with Jessica for Teen Girl Squad.
It really is. It's like
cheerleader.
It's that. It is that. It is
the other one.
What's her face?
What's her face? The ugly one.
Yeah, like that's what this is. And that's why and she totally plays her. Charlie is like totally like playing into like a well, I you know me, I don't know a thing about fashion and clothes, and I sure wish a pretty girl would help me with everything. And Jessica's like, I'm on it, bitch. And by the way, that's not the plan at all.
Yeah, that's not the plan at all. Charlie and Jessica arrive at the abandoned mall. Jessica's like, this is not girl time, but agrees to go on in if it'll help Charlie move on. They tour the mostly demolished building. Some walls are still up, and so is the stage. Jessica goes down into the security room where she was stuck the previous year, and Charlie checks out the costume room to confirm everything is gone, like Clay had said, and it was. Then they go over to Pirates Cove, and they find a storage area that clearly the cops missed somehow. They go in and they find the yellow rabbit costume, and they pull it out, and oh boy, it's a dead body.
It's a dead body. That's okay.
It's Dave's body. He's dead.
Yeah.
He's in the dead body. He's dead in the thing that they thought he was in when he died.
And he's just there. He's just there.
He's just there.
The cops are involved with this thing now. Like, should they have come in, clean it? Like, what the
Here's
fuck?
the thing. Where I needed a moment in chapter 4 where one of them fucking said that they're going to call the cops.
Yes, something.
Just acknowledge the fact that they need to do that, and neither of them does. Nope. In fact, Charlie says she has class in an hour. Let's do some shopping. Until
that is absolutely what she does. It's okay. This is a body. Do they still have Hot Topic at the mall, or is that okay? Spencer Gifts, is that okay? I think I want a tank top with a really sleazy saying on it. That's all.
I just want a tank top that has slut in glitter across the top.
Oh yeah, he's dead. And but yeah, if we could get it in like a dark glitter, like a cool gothy glitter, that'd be
like
great.
A gothy, like a deep pink.
Yeah,
black tank top.
Kinder whore kind of shit. This will be nice.
And that's the end of the fucking chapter.
That's the end of the chapter. Which, like, we begged the first book to have less padding. This is not what we meant.
Just give me a sentence saying that they did the thing.
You want me to cut out all the fat? Oh, I'll cut it all out, motherfucker. Just okay, sure.
We're gonna cut the fat. We're gonna cut the tendons.
Yeah.
We're gonna peel
the gristle, the lean meat.
Gristle, the lean meats. You're gonna be lucky if you have marrow left, motherfuckers.
If there's a single plot thread that makes any sense by the end of this book, we have failed. And
we have failed.
Because you wanted it lean.
It's lean. It's lean, all right. Chapter 5, Charlie's at Dr. Treadwell's class, half listening, and agrees to go to the library with Artie to help him study and the stuff because he doesn't get it and she clearly does. They go to the library and she begins working with him, but then she notices all the boxes that she's been drawing while she's idly taking notes. She draws all these boxes in the margins. And she realizes she has to do something, and she leaves Artie behind. She drives toward Hurricane, trying to calm her nerves, but then notices a swarm of turkey vultures in a field that she's passing, and she pulls over. Pulls over and finds that the turkey vultures are circling around a dead body. So this is she has found 2 dead bodies this morning.
Yeah. She's seen more dead bodies than living ones at this point. She had some Pop-Tarts and cereal for breakfast. Yep. She saw 2 dead bodies, and now is now.
Yep, now it's now. And it's clear that she's been killed. The woman's been killed by being placed inside of an animatronic suit.
Yes.
Charlie drives to a nearby gas station to call Clay, and she asks the clerk for the phone, but he says paying customers only, and there's no gas at the pump, so she'll have to buy a popsicle. Right. So she goes to the cooler to get a popsicle and is startled by what appears to be a taxidermied coyote in the freezer staring at her.
That's what startles you. Okay, got it.
Got it. She's pissed and she gives the clerk her some attitude, and the clerk gives her the phone, and she calls Clay. Charlie's waiting for Clay, and he gets there and he's a little sus because of how she found the body, and he also notes, is like, hey, this girl could be your twin, and Charlie gets a little moody about that because she had a twin and he's dead and all that, and then Charlie realizes, oh shit, she does look exactly like me.
It's kind of hilarious actually. She's like, I beg your pardon, I would. Actually, I see what you mean.
So I see what you mean. She's me shaped, has the same hair,
and they point out later. It's like, well, you're a white girl with brown hair. It's not exactly a difficult demographic.
Yeah. It's like a white 19-year-old. With brown hair, you're not, that uncommon.
It's pretty easy to find. Actually,
you're a common pull in a magic, magic.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh gosh, back when they had the different was a gray border for commons, and didn't they have different colored borders around the? Do they still do that? I haven't touched the magic card in 20 years.
It depends on the deck, but no, not as much. Not as much these days.
Got it. So she's like, can I go to her house? And Clay, being the terrible police detective that he is, says, sure, and gets the wallet off the dead body and gives her the woman's named Tracy, gives her Tracy's address.
Yeah.
And is like, all right, you have a few minutes before I call it in. And so she goes to Tracy's house and looks in the backyard, and she notices there are some holes in the backyard as if something was buried there and had gotten out. And then she goes into one of the holes and scares herself by going into the hole, and then gets back out of the hole and leaves the house because she realizes that time's up. The police are going to be on their way.
Yeah.
And that's the end of chapter 5.
That's chapter 5.
That's chapter 5. How you feeling, Phil?
I gotta be honest. Ripley. This cat. I swear to God. She's trying to knock everything over. I swear it's... I'm enjoying it. Like, it's a little dull, and it doesn't always make sense in the way a lot of YA stuff doesn't make sense. But it's clipping along, and it doesn't have... But I can't help but wonder if that's just because after our first experience with this series, my expectations, the bar is so low at this point.
Yeah.
It's fine. You know, it clips along at a good pace. There are some interesting ideas. Not much has happened, and the stuff that has happened doesn't always really make sense.
Right.
But you know what? It ain't Silver Eyes.
Yeah.
Great.
No.
B minus.
B minus.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's fine. It feels okay so far.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
Sadly, that's high praise for us.
Yeah.
With a lot of the shit we read. So
with a lot of the shit we read, there's there's books that have sparked visceral reaction from me.
Oh, absolutely. Like anger, like actual rage.
Yeah. No, there was no Dark Souls book. I don't know what you're talking about. That never happened. There was.
It's a shame because I feel like if they did make one and it was like based on the source material, it'd probably be pretty interesting.
And if like they had Michael Stackpole write it.
Oh, I mean, come on.
He's a good author.
He's a prolific author.
He's a prolific author. I feel
quite
like
the pedigree.
He could really pull it off
if
that was a thing that they were going to do, but I don't think
they didn't, so it doesn't matter.
They didn't.
It's not. Yeah, don't dream it.
Yeah. So, with all that being said, what are you playing?
Oh, well, I'm really glad you asked because it's been an interesting week or so for gaming with me. I started to play Amnesia: The Bunker again.
Oh, okay.
They've released like new content for it, I guess, and
neat.
Yeah, and I started to play it, and then I kind of stopped, and because I was thinking to myself, I really think this is the best Amnesia game there is. And then it occurred to me, there's another Amnesia game that I hadn't played. It's Amnesia Rebirth. And I started playing that instead. And I don't know if I'm going to get through it because after having played Bunker, which has all kinds of stuff for you to do and all kinds of puzzles and all kinds of drama, Amnesia Rebirth feels kind of like a walking sim by comparison, even though it is not. I mean, that was my major criticism of A Machine for Pigs. It was very, walking
linear, walking sim horror.
Yeah, not much in the way of puzzles, not much in the way of challenges.
You're walking through a haunted house rather than
right.
Yeah.
And the story was very cool, and that kind of, but. That was my major complaint, and I think if I had played Rebirth after that, before I'd played The Bunker, I might have had fonder things to think about this so far. I don't know if I'm getting through it, though. Especially because after we watched The Rock and Judge Dredd kick asses through Mars last week, I was like, I gotta play me some Doom.
Yeah.
And I've been playing some 2016 Doom for the past few days and just remembering what a joy it is to play that fucking game. It is just so good.
Yeah. It's a good game.
Most games, unless they're games that are like heavily story focused or something like that, I'll have podcasts playing in the background or what have you, or an audiobook or two or something like that. Doom, I turn everything off except for the music, turn that up, and just have heavy metal, the video game, wash over me.
Yeah, just let it. Oh,
it's been wonderful, and I know I'm gonna finish it because I'm having so much of a good time with it.
Yeah.
And and I started playing Phantasy Star, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, like this has been
Which
the year
one?
the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, came out in 1980.
The Master System.
Yes,
Phantasy
Master
Star.
System Phantasy Star.
Is it on Steam or something? Or
It's on. It is, I believe, but I got it for my Switch. And
okay.
Because when I'm sitting around with the wife watching movies or something like that, dicking around on my Switch, there's something very satisfying about old school grindy RPGs.
Yeah,
because I can kind of zone out and just grind a few levels and that sort of thing, and it doesn't require a lot of focus. And when I do have something I have to focus on, it's actually pretty cool and pretty interesting and pretty nostalgic. And this has been kind of the time for me. It's like, I never played the Phantasy Star games. I want to educate myself on those old school RPGs.
Why not?
Let's start playing that. So I'm playing that. It's really odd and shockingly difficult. And it just strange, very strange. The localization, which didn't really exist at the time, but
everything about the Phantasy Star series is just a little weird.
Just a little off, exactly.
Yeah.
But what the funniest thing about it, though, is it's a science fiction game. It's all galaxy far, far away. It's very Star Wars informed.
Yeah.
But the game came out in '88, I want to say. And if I didn't know that, I would have sworn that it was made later, simply because the guards of all the towns you go to look just like clone troopers.
Oh, really?
It's you could see where they may have gone, oh, well, we want to do kind of like a send up of the stormtrooper or something like that for Star Wars, but it is imitating it to the point where it's kind of eerie. It's like it predicted it.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So I'm doing that, and
it was 87.
87
was when it released in Japan.
And it's got these little what do you call it, dungeon, old school dungeon crawl kind of sections. You go into a dungeon and it's first person walking through the dungeon, and it looks really good. I don't know, I think if
the Master System, the Master System, which is like Sega's equivalent to the NES, was I think a more powerful system than the NES was.
Yeah. Because
it just looked a little bit sharper.
If all I knew was the NES and then I got to play this, the animations on some of these monsters and stuff, I would have blown my mind. It's very, very impressive.
Yeah. It's funny about the Master System. If I recall correctly, and I it's been a long time since I researched this stuff, but the Master System had a bunch of revisions.
Okay.
That over the years, I feel like it's really weird, but let me just look up Master System. I feel like there was a few versions of the Master System that they the one
kind of like
the
they
Sega
do with the Xbox.
So
now.
the Master System was the Sega Mark III, which was the third iteration of the SG-1000 consoles. So they were originally released in the first one was in 83 or something like that. And then the Mark III was the Master System, and that was in 85. Apparently the lifespan for it in Brazil is 1989 to present.
Wow. That's kind of amazing.
Interesting.
That's pretty interesting. I might want to look into that. I've read about some places where
old systems things keep getting made for them or
exactly
something.
people make stuff for them, which is kind of incredible. I wonder if Brazil's one of those countries.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's ROM hacks and things like that where people actually build the cartridge and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I'm curious about that.
I am too. That's really neat.
It's piqued my curiosity. You had my curiosity. Now you have my attention.
Now you have my Master System. No. No, but that's it for me. What about you, Kevin? What have you been playing?
Well, I've been playing Alan Wake 2 as of today. It came out the day that we're recording, and I'm really liking it so far.
I've got to check that out. That looks so good.
Yeah. I've really enjoyed it so far. It's interesting because it seems to be a lot of the issues that I had with the first Alan Wake which were that it was a little too shooty for a game about like a mystery, have been resolved for Alan Wake 2. Hello, Ripley.
She's back. She's back.
She's back, baby. I'm only a few hours into it, so I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on it, but yeah, I really like it so far. I think it's interesting. I know you eventually control Alan Wake as a character, but as the game starts, you actually are playing as an FBI agent named Saga Anderson. Yeah.
Real subtle.
Real subtle. But yeah, no, so I think it's, I really like it so far. The other thing I've been playing recently is something that's extremely my shit, Dead Island 2.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So I was in the Epic Game Store. I was going to buy Alan Wake, and I saw it. Dead Island 2 was on like a very slight sale, and I was like, I'll buy it.
Yeah, fine. Fuck it. Gimme.
Yeah, so I bought it, and it's my shit so far. It's like, it's very like 6.5 to 7 out of 10, but like right in the shooter, dumb shooter, like zombie shooter stuff that I like. Like, did I say Dying Light 2? I mean Dead Island 2. Like Dying Light 2, like Dying Light, like the first Dead Island. Those games where it's just
that's
like,
what I recall loving about the first Dead Island. It was stupid.
It's just kind of stupid. I got to a part where like Sam B showed up, and he's like your mentor. So Sam B was the rapper from the first one.
Yeah.
Who was one of the playable characters from the first one, and he like showed up in the second one as like the mentor for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
and it's still got like the crafting elements and everything like that.
Yeah. You craft, like you add stuff to your weapons and stuff like that. So. Nice. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far. And of course, still playing Marvel Snap. I'm proud to announce that I have acquired Nico Minoru.
All right. I haven't even actually looked at the spells or whatever that she's supposed to have. Are they worth it?
Yes.
Okay.
So she has 6 spells, I want to say. They rotate. So every turn that she's in your hand or in the deck, the spells are rotating, right?
Okay.
Or 7 spells. She has 7 spells. Once they rotate, you can't, it's gone, right? You can't, it's not going to rotate back around. So she'll have you'll have her in your hand turn 1, for example, and she'll have a spell that, let's say you play on reveal, she destroys the next card you play, but you draw 2 cards. Which,
okay.
That could be pretty good. So, for example, in one time I played her, and then I played Forge, and so Forge flips. He has his on reveal triggered. She destroys Forge. I get 2 cards, and then the next card I play still gets the bump from Forge, even though he's been destroyed.
I mean, and you can make that work for things like Wolverine and
so many things. Other things like, next card you play, this card meaning Nico gets double power. So you can do stuff where you, like, I did this thing where I forged Nico, right? I was like, I played Forge, played Nico. She got buffed to from 1/2 to 1/4. And then the next card I played, she went from 1 to 8 power. So there's ways that you can make Nico become like a little powerhouse card.
Right.
Or there's one of the spells as you play it, the next card you play turns into a demon. So if you have like, you play Nico, and then you have like Wasp, and she goes from a 0/1 to a 1/6.
Nice.
That's like some extra power out on the board, you know? So like there's a lot of, what I'll say is that you, or another spell will move a card. So it's like an Iron Fist type thing. So basically what I'll say is I think she's going to be a good utility card. You won't necessarily build decks around her. right? She won't have decks built around her. She'll just be a card that you can throw in where, like, okay, half of her spells or a good chunk of her spells are useful to me in some regard. You know what I mean? So she'll be one of my 1-drop cards.
She's just handy, yeah.
She's just useful because she can be an Iron Fist. She can be a Hood with the demon thing.
Yeah.
She can be like Shuri. She can do, so stuff like that.
That's cool. Yeah, that's definitely worthwhile. Nice.
Yeah, so she's neat. I was just really hoping I would get her, and I opened Spotlight Cash earlier today, and I was like,
nice.
I was so happy to to nab her.
It's fucking awesome.
Oh God, yeah. So I guess that'll do it for today's episode.
Yeah, that'll do it.
The book is really tight, so. Yeah, we went through a third of the book in like lickety split.
Yeah, that was 100 pages.
That was 100 pages right there.
Yeah, right there. So this is gonna, you know what? Like one way or the other, this is not going to be a painful experience at least. So that's nice.
These episodes are going to be a lot shorter than the Warhammer 40K.
Yeah.
Episodes, which were on average, it seems like an hour and a half to an hour and 40 minutes to get through.
Yeah. And frankly, probably a lot shorter than the Silver Eyes episodes, which I imagine were pretty long too.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll do it for tonight's episode. Before we go, I just want to ask you all to go to a certain website. Phil, can you tell me about a website that they should go to?
Right off the top of my head, I'd have to say patreon.com/ let's just say PixelLitPod. That'd be a good one. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's a good one. And because when you get there, you can find out all kinds of cool stuff about our community. You can help support us on different tiers of donation and get different rewards for them. Or if you don't want to throw us any money, just join up. And it's actually where we are sending all of our traffic these days because it just makes the most sense. And
it makes the most sense. Yeah,
it makes the most sense. We get people talking. You can also reach our Discord through that, can't you?
Yes, I have a link to the Discord on there.
Yep. Absolutely. And that's another great place to hang out with us and chat. I'm not on there all the time because I am somehow insufferable when it comes to chat rooms.
Sure.
But Kevin is on there.
I will be there.
Yeah. If you want to hang out, if you want to ask questions, if you just want to be a part of the community, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. But I did mention the tiers before with the Patreon, and one of those tiers, the highest tier, involves getting a shout out at the end of every episode. And that means we're going to say, hey, friendly friend.
Hey, friendly friend.
How you doing?
Now it's time for your shout out. This is the Friendly Friend shout out zone. Do you want to be friends with Friendly Friend? Then you gotta get in that tier, baby. You gotta get up in that tier.
Who's in our Discord, by the way? Hanging out with us in the Discord.
Frank, hang out with us.
Come on.
You could be a patron, or you could be not a patron, and you can hang out with us in the Discord.
Absolutely.
But you know what? The best way to join the Discord is through Patreon. I'm just saying. Personally.
No.
Anyway.
Never had an issue with it. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So that's our Patreon. That's our Discord. Otherwise, you can follow us on X, formerly Twitter.com. Fucking Elon Musk, Jesus Christ. Just a man-child. You can follow us on Instagram, and you can follow us on Blue Sky. Wherever you go, just at PixelitPod, and you'll find us there.
They will be there.
They'll be there. We'll be there. We'll be there for you.
Yeah.
Till next episode, have a good night, everybody.
Bye.